Google Forms are a way to collect information from people in a web-based format. That information then populates a spreadsheet that you can use for data manipulation. You can use Google Forms for things like giving quizzes to students, collecting contact information about parents, perhaps even creating a choose-your-own-adventure story. There are lots of creative uses for Google Forms, and once you get used to using it, you'll come up with plenty on your own. To create a form, you use the red Create button in your Google Drive, and you choose Form. If this is your first time using Google Forms, you may be brought through a tutorial. You're welcome to skip that if you'd like. And then this screen will come up asking you to choose a title and theme. I'm going to title my form Intermediate Form, and then I'm going to look through the themes. I'm going to choose a theme and then click OK. You'll see that the title of my form has both named my form and been populated into this form title area. If you ever choose to change the name of your form, you can update it here and here, but they are no longer linked after this point. The next area will ask for a description for your form. Descriptions are important to explain to your users why you're trying to collect their data. The next thing you see is the one default question that Google automatically puts in your form. And you'll see that all questions have very similar options. You have a question title, help text, your question type, which you can change back and forth, a go to page based on answer, which is optional for multiple choice and a few other kinds. The go to page based on answer allows your form to be a little more flexible and differentiated based on the answers your students give you. And then you have boxes where you type in the answers that your users have to choose from. I always start my form with a text question that asks for the user's name. If I wanted to provide help text, again, I would provide it in the help text box. And then I have this option down here to make this a required question. When I'm done working on my question, I can click Done. And if I ever decide I want to edit that question, all I have to do is click on it and it opens back up again. I can also use these icons here to duplicate, edit, or delete my question. Again, I'm done. I now want to add another question to my form. There are various ways I can do this, but I tend to use the Add Item button or the drop-down arrow next to Add Item, which will allow me to choose my question type before I begin writing my question. The next question type is a paragraph text. This allows for a longer free response from your students. Again, you can require the question and click Done. The next question type is multiple choice. This is used for a question that you have multiple options for your users to choose from, but they can only select one as the correct answer. You can add as many options for your users to choose from as you'd wish, and you can use the go to page based on answer. Again, I'm going to require my question and click Done. I'd like to add another question type here, and I'm going to use checkboxes. Checkbox questions are used when your user is allowed to select more than one answer. For example, a question that requires a choose all that apply. With both multiple choice and checkbox type questions, you have an option to add Other, which will allow your students to provide an answer other than those that you've provided to them. The next question type is Choose from a list. This will offer your users a drop-down menu of answers. It's very similar to a multiple choice question, but instead of seeing all of the answers at once, they have to look at a drop-down menu. I'm just going to leave my options 1, 2, and 3. And click Done. The more advanced questions are things like scales, grids, date, and time. Scale questions allow your users to rate something on a scale that you can change from it can start at 0 or 1, and it can go up to 10. So I can say on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like butterflies? The next question type is a grid. Grids are interesting because they take the scale question, but they allow you to have multiple rows and multiple columns. You might want to use this for something like a rubric you'd like your students to self-grade on, and then you gather all their data into a Google form. Or perhaps you want to ask their comfort level with technology and you don't want to make a million scale questions, you can add them all to a grid. Your row labels will appear down the left-hand side. Your column labels will appear at the top. You'll see now that your user can choose their comfort level with each of the tools listed. The next question type we'll talk about is the date type. What this question does is allow you to ask users to input a date and even a time for certain things. Perhaps you want to use your form to have students sign up for extra help. Users then will be able to choose a date and a time, and that'll all be gathered in your spreadsheet. Those are the question types that you're able to add to forms, but that's not all you can do with forms. The other items you can add have to do with the layout of your form. What we'll do now is we're going to view the live form, which you can do in two ways. You'll see up here in the bar you have View Live Form, and you can also go to View and click Live Form here. So I'm going to view my live form. Right now, this is what my form looks like. It's a little bit boring, but I can add a little bit more pizzazz. The layout features you can add include a section break, a page break, a video, and an image. The section header will allow you to have more than one page to your form. Perhaps you have a particularly long quiz. You can always, after you've created your section header, you can always move it to a different area by simply dragging and dropping. This is true of all items you add to a Google form. If you would like to change the order of your questions, click and hold down, then drag your question to where you'd like it to appear. Another layout piece that you can add to your form is a page break. To insert a page break, you click on it and you give your new page a title. You can also add images to your Google form. Just like with every other Google app, you can choose to upload an image, take a snapshot, import by URL, add from your albums or from your drive. For now, I'll upload an image. You can give the image a title and a hover text, and you can choose where it aligns. Images could be useful not only to make your form more visually appealing, but you can also ask questions about images. For example, I'd like to add a question here that asks my users what this picture represents. I provide some options. And I click on Done. Similarly to adding a picture, you can also insert a YouTube video. You can do a search for a video if you don't have one in mind, or you can add a video from a URL that you have found on YouTube. I'm going to look for a grammar video. I would highly recommend finding the video first. You then double click on the video and it inserts the video onto the page. You can always change the video, and again, you can align your video left, right, or center. And then once again, you can ask your users to answer questions based on the video they've just watched. Those are the basic items that you can add to a Google form. Just like with all Google items, you can add collaborators so that more than one person can work on a form. If you click on File, then Add Collaborators, You enter the email address of the person you'd like to have collaborate. You can give them can edit access. You can notify them via a message, and you can send a copy to yourself. You click send, and now that person has been notified that they can access your form, and now they can make changes to the form as they see fit. You'll also find under that file menu that you can email the collaborators. So if everybody's working on a form together, you can send out emails and they'll go directly to the participants in your form. You can download your form and the responses as a comma-separated values document. Now that you've built your form, it's time to talk about how to get responses. Up here, you have a Responses tab. When you click on that, you have the Accepting Responses option again. You have a summary of responses, and you have the option to choose the response destination. Currently, the responses will be stored in the Google form, but you can also choose to have them exported to an Excel document. Click on Choose Response Destination. It's currently set to New Spreadsheet. You can leave it at that, and then you click Create. If you go back to your Google Drive, you'll notice that wherever your form is stored, you'll have your form as well as a spreadsheet that holds your responses. When you open that spreadsheet, you'll notice a header for each of the questions that you asked. I'm going to go ahead and fill in my form so you can see what the responses will look like. So I'm going to go to my live form. When you're ready to send your form out to your respondents, you have a few options. The first is this Send Form button. If you happen to have the email addresses of the people you'd like to respond, you can enter them here. You can also embed your form on a page. If you click on Embed, you'll get an embed code that you can copy and place on a page. You also can use a link. Again, you simply copy it and paste it, perhaps into an email or onto your website. This is the link that you'll need to share for me to be able to look at your form.